wave your hand, wave your hand, wave your hand from the Caribbean. Wave your hand, wave your hand.
All right, we're starting off this Tuesday on the SportsMax Zone with the biggest party in sport. The Republic Bank Caribbean Premier League continues with match 6 between Antigua and Barbuda Falcons and the St. Lucia Kings at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium later on Tuesday. The Falcons are 0 from 3 and without a point on the board and will want to change their fortunes against the Kings, who brilliantly chased 202 against the Patriots on Sunday to join the 5-team 2-point traffic on the leaderboard. Falcons captain Chris Green is not worried about his team's winless run so far.
I said the same thing yesterday. I said the same thing after the first game as well. We've still got 7 matches to play. There's a long time left in this tournament. We've got to up our game. We've got to play better cricket. We need to make more impotence with the bat, and I don't think we're too far away from the ball. So it's not panic stations. It's not time to retreat into our corners. It's time to front up and go towards the danger and, play aggressive cricket, passionate cricket, and show our home fans what we can do in our last 2 games.
Here's a reminder of how the table looks ahead of Game 6. All right, so Barbados Royals at the top of the table. And just please note, teams 1 to 5 all have 2 points, as I said. And then the Antigua and Barbuda Falcons are yet to pick up a point, yet to pick up a win. And they're hoping that they can do so tonight. Our cricket commentator and analyst, Nikhil Uttamchandani, he joins us this afternoon. Nikhil, we just heard from the man at the helm of the Falcons, Chris Green, such a cool, calm fellow, saying that, there's no need to press that panic button because, we have a couple matches to go, 7 matches to still go. And what do you have to say in response to that? Because many people are panicking, especially the Falcons fans, but I feel like they should take Chris Green's advice.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one, Maria. I don't think it's time for panic, but you look at some of the successful teams, and look, it's not the only way to win the CPL, but you kind of want to maximize on your home conditions. You build your team for home conditions because that's where you play half your matches. You have the extra support from the crowd, which sometimes gives you that extra push. So you understand why, those around are feeling that external pressure for the Falcons to pick up a win at home. Yes, they may not be panicking now, but I think if they go through this leg without a win and you're 0 from 5, it is almost impossible to get to a final or get to the playoffs with 0 points after 5 games, with the other teams having their respective home legs to come. So I think Green is a very calm leader. I've been impressed with him on the field and what he's displayed, the confidence in which he's given some of his bowlers, some of the tactical decisions he's made bowling-wise as well. But I think he's going to have to try to find something different tonight if they're to get over the line against a Kings team who I think surprised a few a couple of days ago.
Yeah, and the Kings team will be coming in with high confidence, especially in the manner in which they were able to beat the Patriots, despite Evan Lewis picking up, of course, that century. I'm going to put you in a sort of hot seat. I know Ricardo is the one who normally does that to you, but if you were Chris Green and you were the captain of this Antigua and Barbuda Falcons, would you do anything different tonight? Do you see yourself dropping a player, bringing in a different player? What would you do, Nikhil?
To be honest, Maria, I'm looking at their opening partnership, and it really is struggling. The highest in the 3 games is 11. And I understand that Kofi James gives you that bit of extra aggression. I've heard some reports that Pakar Zaman has gone home to play in the 50-over competition. We'll have to see if that has any relevance or if it's true. But I would like to see maybe a Justin Graves or Jamar Hamilton be inserted in that top order because I think they're lacking in experience. Obviously, they've got Joel Andrew, who's batted really well. But when they had Teddy Bishop there, when they had Kofi James, I just feel they're not maximizing. The first 2 games which they lost in the last ball, Chris Green said it himself, he felt they were 10 to 15 runs short in both the games. And it's a very good service in Antigua. They batted first in all 3 matches, and they haven't been able to force a sizable enough total. So just, as he said, a bit more impetus early on. But I think they've also been in some favorable positions. You think about the game against St. Kitts, they were 71 for 2. Against Guyana, 86 for 2 after 10 overs. And then struggled to get, you say a general mark with 8 wickets in hand, the last 10. You want to be getting at least 100 runs. But they've struggled to do that in both games. And I think they're batting. They must find another gear and potentially utilize some of that power they have at the bottom of that batting lineup. Someone like a Fabian Allen, who batted at as low as 8 in the last game. Or Roshan Primus, who showed his value with the couple of boundaries he hit in the 10 deliveries he faced.
Yeah, and the St. Lucia Kings coming off a win, you know, a massive win for them. I expect them to go with the same team. What about you?
Yeah, definitely. I think the only change we could see, Mikael Govaya, who was an off-spinner, played with the impact of how many left-handers the Patriots have in their lineup. We know Carey Pierre was quite successful for the Kings last season. He's an excellent fielder and obviously gives them something with bat as well. So if there was one change, I could see that maybe, but I can understand them sticking with the youngster who's also very talented with bat in hand and just seeing how he works out because he can bowl in the power play as well. So I think that Kings team is a very strong team. There were a lot of questions around the region when they lost Heinrich Klaassen if they would be able to fill that void. But I'll tell you, that what we saw from Tim Seifert a couple nights ago, I was pleasantly surprised because he's been to 3 seasons of the CPL, I think 2020 to 2022, and he wasn't able to be that explosive, that aggressive player they were looking for in the middle at TKR. His strike rate was 100 in those 3 seasons, but that innings 3 nights ago at the Warner Park, it was something to behold. And I mean, the way that he sort of just shifted the pressure back onto the Patriots. I know Warner Park is a batting-friendly surface and stadium, but it was amazing to see this evolution of Tim Seifert. He has no Test cricket to worry about. He's playing his T20 cricket around the world, and he looks really good. So I love their overseas additions, Visa, Noor Ahmad, and then the 2 batters as well. Yeah, really exciting times for them, obviously, to go with Faf.
Yeah, Nikhil, is part of the reason why Chris Green doesn't appear overly worried because although they've lost their matches, they haven't played badly. It's not that they've played badly, but they haven't won. So he is seeing quality in his team based on their performance that he doesn't think they're too far away from turning things around.
Yeah, first of all, Lance, I want to say that your question yesterday about the losing side being from the player of the match coming from the losing side, it was a big debate this morning at breakfast, so yes, you're making some waves in the realms of the Republic Bank CPL. But I think, to be honest, Lance, Chris Green has been at the Tallows so many years, obviously not as captain, but I remember in the 2022 season, it was a rocky year for them. They barely stuck into the playoffs and then found a way to go from there, won the eliminator, won the qualifier, won the final. So I think he understands the nature of the 16 tournament that is the CPL. He's played for so many seasons. And I think he understands how quickly your fortunes can change. And as you said, I mean, to lose 2 final delivery thrillers, you obviously feel very hard done by that. You're not able to pick up the points. The game against Barbados, I thought they were unlucky with the toss. And then once you don't put up enough runs in a day game where the surface likely will get better, it's always going to be tough. But definitely, I don't think they're far away. And the fact that they've been getting so close without a lot of their important performances, someone like Muhammad Amir, who's got 43 wickets in 3 seasons, has 1 wicket this year in 11.5 overs. So he hasn't found his best yet. I think it's only a matter of time because we're talking about one of the best new ball bowlers the CPL has ever seen. And when he starts firing, Wasim has been good with his all-round performance, and they get a few more local performances to support the Shamar Springers and Joel Andrews, I think it'll all come together quite nicely for them. And it's a good opportunity for them to win tonight because they need to start winning now just to capitalize on a few games at the Sir Viv Richards Stadium and get a bit of confidence going into that team when they then start traveling to different destinations, and the turnaround is quite quick, and also you have to adapt to the various surfaces.
Yeah, and what can you say about the appetite for the CPL in Antigua and Barbuda, because they have been out without a franchise for a couple of seasons now in that country, and I'm pretty certain happy to have the CPL back.
I've been very impressed, Lance, with the crowds that have come out. I think even on Sunday morning, that was the one I was kind of worried about, which obviously is a big church day in the Caribbean. But to see how many people were actually there, and I mean, the night games have always had that great support. It does help, I think, to have someone like a Joel Andrew. A similar situation here in St. Kitts, where the first game that Louis played, I remember asking someone that was at the ground if people were coming out tonight. And he said the minute people found out that Louis was playing in the 11, people started making their way to Warner Park. So I think it really helps to have, especially in the smaller islands where you haven't had a lot of cricket recently, to have those figures that the crowd, that people of St. Kitts and Antigua can get behind and really celebrate. And it helps that both Joel and Mikael Louis have gotten 50s and have got off to a really good start. So I've really enjoyed how much attention the CPL has gotten. It really makes you feel that sense of missing it throughout the year when you don't have it. And to feel the excitement with everybody, people on the road, people in the service industry. It's been amazing to have the CPL back, and I can't wait to go through the other parts of the Caribbean as well.
Yeah, you know, Nikhil, there is a school of thought that generally pitches in the Caribbean, it's very difficult for the batsmen, especially in those middle overs when they are dealing with the spinner specifically. And Faf du Plessis at the end of the last game spoke to that as well. How much does that differ depending on where these matches are being played? Let's say the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium in comparison to somewhere like Warner Park in St. Kitts. And what sort of difficulty does that present for the teams as they move around the region and play at different venues?
Yeah, I think, Ricardo, in both stadiums now, they've been very good batting surfaces. So I want to credit the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. What you saw with the spin coming in a lot more in the day game, and that's natural in the Caribbean. You get a lot of moisture. There's a lot of rain around at this time of the year. But definitely it's an important factor. Look, we've discussed on the show many times that this is a problem that's plagued the West Indies for a number of years systemically, where we've had our issues scoring off more deliveries in the middle. But I think what it comes down to is when you build your team at the beginning of the year, having enough adaptability to go to the various venues. So a team like St. Lucia, for example, they haven't always had an attacking wrist spinner. They've tried last year with Peter Hatzoglu. They've tried with Zahir Khan from Afghanistan. But to have Noor now, you saw his value the other night where he bowled 4 overs for 20 runs in what was such a high-scoring game. I think that in itself was such an important phase and something that the Kings haven't really had in past seasons. So I like to see how teams sort of plan. You think about Guyana's side. They're so well set up with guys who can take pace off the ball, with guys who can bowl wrist spin and finger spin in the middle, because they know that's where they're going to play the majority of their games. So the adaptability and having the ability to adjust is, I think, the most important factor for any team because of the different venues and the variables that you get at the various venues as well.
Yeah, and Nikhil, you know, Lance asked about the appetite for the cricket when it comes to Antigua and Barbuda. I know it's new because, you know, the franchise is back, but what has the turnout been like in the stadiums and everything, and the party vibe? Because we know CPL is the biggest party in sport. I can speak for Trinidad and Tobago. When the CPL is there, the party stand, you know, there's a lot of music, a lot of vibe. What's the vibe like in Antigua and Barbuda?
Well, I only did one game there, Mariah, but that opening night, it was really good. That was a Friday night. Then I think the Sunday night, it was packed. Or Saturday night, sorry. Yeah. But in Warner Park, I've been really impressed because I think it's turned into a lime. You haven't had as many people in the stands, but you've had a lot of people on the grass mounds. And I love that. I love that aspect of Warner Park where you can bring your cooler, you can bring your chairs, and the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium in Antigua has it as well, where you can just sort of bring your blankets, relax, you know, have a couple beverages with your friends and enjoy what is a spectacle in the CPL. So I'm not worried about places like Guyana and Trinidad because I know we'll have, if not sold out, very close to sold out venues. I was kind of watching the smaller islands to see what the turnout would be, especially in the week. But I think the way that the CPL has been marketed with months leading up to it, the small things that they've done, packaging the women's CPL with the West Indies games, it has all added to creating a better product and creating more attention and hype. I mean, I've only been in the CPL now for a couple of seasons, Mariah, but I can't remember a year where the CPL has been this talked about on the roads. Everyone is speaking about it, and you mean on social media as well. So I think it's heading in a really exciting direction. Yeah,
it always has been exciting, and it's getting even bigger and even better. Well, let's now take this soundbite, Nikhil, from Secretly Ambrose, coach of the Antigua and Barbuda team. Let's take it.
Thank you very much for your time. You coached a championship team in the CPL just about a couple of seasons ago, not getting across the line for the first 3 games. How tough has it been?
It's been a little bit tough because in every competition we always figured to get a win early builds confidence, and unfortunately the first and second games we lost after the last deliveries, which was very heart-wrenching. The third game against Barbados didn't score enough runs, and they never gave us a chance to settle as a bowling unit. They really played well, but I figured that we still got a good enough team, and once we get that first win, that should breathe some confidence, and so we're still okay. Mood in the camp is still good.
All right, and just going to that third game, I know you as a very...
Yeah, of course, we just heard from Secretly Ambrose. He always has a way whenever he speaks to put a smile on my face, and I know he does that for a lot of our viewers. Nikhil, he says that the mood in the camp is still fine. They just need to get that win to boost their confidence. Can it come tonight?
definitely can come tonight. Again, he was another one in that 2022 squad who won the tournament. So that ability, knowing that you've won this competition, knowing what it takes, I think it does play a part. But Mariah, the margin of error is getting smaller and smaller. Every decision they make now becomes very important. And there's a man at the back of that huddle, Brandon King. And I think they're missing him badly because that batting lineup isn't firing in the way which it used to when it was the Tallowers because of the starts he gave them. So they have to find a way to adapt, whether they put some more experience in. For me, and this is just my personal opinion, I think you give Fabian Allen more of an opportunity. Every time he's been allowed to go in and face more deliveries, he's looked a different player. 2019 CPL, when he had his best year with bat, he was batting at 4 sometimes. So can they trust him against the spin, which he's improved drastically against? Can they trust him to go in a bit earlier? And you never know, it could produce a few more results for them.
Yeah, well, Nikhil, thank you so much for stopping by. Keep up the good work when it comes to CPL, and we'll see how this result turns out. We'll talk again really soon.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right, Nikhil Uttamchandani there, our cricket commentator, cricket analyst, or cricket prediction guru, you name it, and he's been doing some really, really good work on the Caribbean Premier League. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I guess we'll continue talking some more cricket, this time the West Indies type.
Road to the Caribbean, put up your one.